right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to do this. So tonight, we're going to paint keeping in the Christmas or holiday theme. I'm going to do some of these glass ornaments or Christmas balls. They could be plastic. I've got a couple of examples of them here, of ones that I want to maybe not duplicate so much, but take inspiration from. I have drawn the ones I want to work on out here. I've got, I don't know, what do I have, 7 of them. And I'll tell you how I drew these out. I just grabbed a roll of tape like this and put it on my paper. Drew a circle on the inside that set my ornament size. And then I took this, which is my whatever this is. I don't remember what this is, and set it down here and to make the little caps for these. Hello, fun stuff. Hello, Aileen. Great to see you. So this is how I drew the balls that I have here. Let me set those off to the side really quickly. The paper that I'm using, you see I have it taped down here. This is my B paper that I bought in the giant roll, and it's still kind of, I don't know, you can see it's still rolled, basically, so I had to tape it down. My plastic wasn't big enough to get it all around, but I'm not going to use enough water to get to the edges to do a whole lot with. So we'll be fine with that. Let me say a couple of hellos here. Hello, Laura. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Mrs. T. Thank you all for joining, and fun stuff. Thank you for the coffee. I got that just before we went on air. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. So you know the paper that I'm using. I am, of course, using my M. Graham paints, as I always do, or as I usually do, I should say. Let me put those over there and turn on, where is it? There it is. Turn on the paint cam. Let me see if I can get it in frame there a little bit. And I am not using my Rubloff brushes today. I have some new brushes that I am using. I got them Monday. What's today? Today is Wednesday. Ooh, come on, Michael. Today is Wednesday. I got these on Monday. Last night I got to use them for the first time. These are my Martini brushes. M-A-I-R-T-I-N-I. I was going to grab the box. Here's the box. I've already gotten it a little bit of dirty from splashing some paint on it. It came real nice in a box like this. I did shoot a video of these, a little review or preview or whatever you want to call it, of these yesterday. I'm looking for my sheet of paper. Woo, here it is. So I'm going to come out with a video for that maybe tomorrow, more likely. It'll be Friday. I'll be able to publish that. I'm still doing a little bit of editing on it. I think that's all I have to get through right now. Other than I need to decide what colors to make these. And I'm going just to use a smattering of colors, but I want to look at these real quickly so we can take a little notice of what's going on here. Did I say what the brush material is? I did not. These are pure squirrel hair brushes. They are. It's the worst thing about these brushes is it's, you know, this gray brown handle with a brown writing on it. So these are gray squirrel hair brushes. They feel really nice. So I like these. These are kind of, I'll take 2 seconds. These sit kind of in between this brush, which you guys have seen me use. Right, these bristles are really springy and they come back to their shape every time. These are pretty springy and they come back. You can see I can push them and they come back pretty well to their normal spot. Not quite as good as these, but more than any of the quill brushes that I have. Now this one happens to be a part synthetic, so it's a little, not quite exactly fair, but it kind of sits in the middle. So you have a nice feel to them. It feels nice and soft, but when you apply a little pressure, it does come back. It does come back to almost straight for you. Okay, but before we get to those, let's look at some of these balls. And let's see, I'm going to draw your attention. Let me grab one of these to this one here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And what I want to look for is the lighting on these, and I want to try to reproduce this a little bit. Maybe we're not going to get it exactly. Okay, so disregard the glitter that's on here. We've got a lighter spot here, right? Darker around, all the way around the edges. And then you can see here we've got a nice dark line that runs through the middle of this. And that is, you can see it really well on this one. You can also see it here on this, right? Here's obviously our light spot. Our light source must be around, well, up here somewhere, shining down a little bit. But it's dark all the way around here, really dark down here, very dark on the sides. And there's a little line here, right, that runs through the middle. Again, we can see it down here. Here's a dark line that runs through the middle of this. So we're going to follow this pattern. I don't know that I'm going to leave mine quite this high. Depends upon where I have my light source shining on. I usually bring it down a little bit further, but this is what we're going to try to replicate. And on these ones, which are glass balls and a little bit more reflective, we can still kind of see it. It's obviously dark up here on this one also. And you can see some of the dark around the edges on these. The bright spot obviously right in the middle. It is a little harder on here because it's so reflective, but you can see it's much darker over here than it is in this middle range, or over here even. And then dark again down here and down here. And then maybe there's a little reflected light here on this one because of this little bump out. But that's what we're looking to try to do with these. Now I've set a little challenge for myself, in that they're not all just solid colors. I've got some solids, and I've got some with big stripes and some with little stripes. And I'm curious to see how we're going to handle this. What I am going to do is I'm going to start with just a little bit of neutral tint here, and I'm going to drop just a little bit of this ultramarine blue into that, and just get a really light value here. And I'm going to come onto this ball right here in the front, and I'm going to start to layer a little bit of this color on. I actually want more wet than that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave part of this ball white, right? This one I'm going to make a candy cane striped. So I'm going to leave part of this white, and the other part, of course, is going to be red. But in order to make the dark parts on the white, so it's not just white, I'm going to use this color and just put a little bit of it on here. Much lighter up here at the top. In fact, I can go even a little bit lighter than that. And when it dries, it should be super light. But then just a little more color down here, so that no matter what color I go with, when it dries, it'll go right over top of this color that I'm laying down right now, all the way up and around. I'm going to save these crowns. There we go, something like that. That gives me a nice round shape. I'm going to save the crowns for the end. Let me just take out a little bit of reflected light from underneath there. There we go. And now I can move on to another one. Oh, we're off. I'm off. I'm not quite in the center here, am I? Okay, let me put that there. Let me put these over here. I don't have a good picture of these tonight. I printed these off. I printed them off while I was at work. I shouldn't say that. And I didn't save the images, so I only have the printed copies of these. So I didn't have a picture to put right there. Can I ask a strange question? Can you guys see the video? I'm looking at a stream and I don't see the video. Let me refresh my stream. Maybe it's coming in. It's not coming in. Why am I not seeing it? I have so many problems with this. You are seeing it. Okay, if you guys are seeing it, I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe I need to press play on my end. I did. Okay. I just didn't press play. Okay, never mind. On to other things. All right, I'm going to jump down to this ball down here. I'm going to paint this guy, I don't know, I'm going to paint this guy green down here. I'm going to use my phthalo green for this. I'm going to start with it light. I'm a little jumpy about YouTube at the moment. They have changed what they call the Creator Studio dashboard. And it's all different. And I look at it every time and I go, nothing's where I want it to be. I don't, what happened to it all? So I'm a little skittish about it. There we go. And I'm not going to worry for the moment, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to worry at the moment about reflected light on this guy. Right, we're going to get a little reflection of whatever color this turns out to be, and we'll worry about that on the next layer. I just need to get one good layer on here, and then we can move on to the next one. And I have to figure out what colors I want them to be. This is a nice, bright, cheery green color. I love phthalo green, and I'm going to see if I can't. Just going to keep using the phthalo green with a much thicker consistency. Not much thicker, but a bit thicker consistency. And I'm going to see if I can't put on a little bit of that shadow right now. And with any luck, it'll save us from doing a little bit of it later on. You can see I'm not gooping it on. It's not super thick. But it's just darkening around the edges a little bit. I'm trying to work with it at the moment, just to get it that nice round look that we want. Right? I've kind of decided without saying it that my light source is coming from up here. Well, probably up here, down this way. I think it's just a little easier for me to paint the darks on the right-hand side, given that I am right-handed. All right, I just want to smooth that out a little bit, maybe smooth that out. And there we got a nice round looking ball right there. Actually, this is really good. Really, I'm a little surprised. Okay, so we got that one. Let's do this, which is Azo Orange. Let's get a nice orangey one going. And I'm just gonna keep moving over this way, so I'm gonna do another solid one here. This is gonna be Azo Orange. This is a little thicker than I want, a little heavier. There we go, and you can see as I'm using this new brush of mine that it is fairly, especially for a squirrel brush, it's fairly stiff. It's got a really nice point to it. I'm very pleasantly surprised. And I have to let my friend know, Jules, that I have a brush that is working really well. She bought a 3-pack of brushes and said she didn't need 3 and wanted to send me one of them. And I was totally stoked. I'm going to show you the brush here in just a second. The one that she sent me. And I tried it out, and I was like, this is a really nice brush. How would I rate it compared to my silver brushes? That is a great question. And I actually did a very quick, albeit a quick comparison between the two last night. And I guess these two sit in a similar price point, right? This pack of 4 brushes, 4 was $30. And I think you can get a pack of 3 of the silver brushes for about the same amount. So they're a similar price point. They're not the same, but they're close as makes no difference. Now the thing that I think that everybody likes about the silver brushes is that they feel a lot more. I'm just trying to grab one here. We'll take this one. They feel a lot more like the sable brushes. Oh, what happened? Hang on. Back in focus. Come on. Hands, focus. Come on, you goofy camera. There we go. I don't know why it does that. These black velvet brushes feel to me a bit more like the sable brush. And this brush feels more like a quill brush. And I think that people like this brush, the black velvet, because it holds a lot like all the squirrel brushes do, but it acts more like a sable brush. But I like the little extra softness in this, and they come to, I don't know. I like the little extra softness in it. I'm just gonna leave it with that. What does the point look like? The point on these is really pretty good. Right. This one is the size 10 that I'm using now. I can easily make a really fine point with them. This is the 12. Let's see, 10, 8, and 2. What do I have here? 6. So 12 here, 10, 6, and 2, right? And I can get some pretty fine points with any of these. So I would say they're more than comparable. But like I said, I like the feel of these bristles on the paper a bit better. Let's see. I'm going to go with I use phthalo green here. I'm going to get back to my painting. I'm going to use a phthalo blue on this solid ball over here. Oh, and I know with phthalo blue, I need to have a bit of extra water because it will stain so badly. So I'm going to really thin this out. But all of this stuff about those brushes is in that brush review that I will have out by the end of the week. The bad part about these brushes is that they're only available, the only place I could find them was this set on Amazon. This is the only set they have, and these are the only ones I could find in the US from this maker. So I don't even know. I mean, they must have more in their line. The one I got in the mail from my friend says it was made in Belgium. So I'm guessing that in the European market there are going to be plenty of others. Sandy says, great for you. All right, here we go. Let's darken up this phthalo a little bit. I'm just trying to inch a little closer to that edge and a little closer to that edge each time I do this. There we go. And yes, this ball is very damp. And I got a hair in there. It's not from this brush because it's got a little curl to it in there. Not sure where that one came from. Oh, I forgot. I have the other one I was going to show you. I have it right here to show you real quick. All right, there we go. And right through the middle of this one, giving us, with any luck, a bit of a round shape. How are we looking? We're looking good. Let's see, I'm going to use this, and look, this soaks that water, like all squirrel brushes, soaks the water right up off your painting. And am I happy with that? I want a little darker over here on this side. I know I'm going to have to go back and do it again. I shouldn't be overly concerned at the beginning. But for some reason, I don't know, I want to just get it on there. Okay, I can live with that. That looks rounded to me. Okay, so here's the brush that I got in the mail. It's a travel brush, obviously, but look at it. That's a good-looking paintbrush. It's got a big body to it, right? Comes to a really, really fine point. And it's for a travel brush. It's got some nice, when you post the end on here, it's got a nice feel to it. It's of course a little front heavy, but this doesn't feel loose at all, right? You can pull it right on and off, but it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off, which is nice, because then you'd feel like you're using a little tiny paintbrush like this. If I had any drawback of this brush, it's that they've packed in so much hair here. Look at how much it flares out before it comes back in. It's really hard to get it back in this thing because it's so big, and I'm afraid if I do it too many times, I'm going to bend all of the hairs off. So I've been keeping it like this. Just tonight, I put it back in here finally. But it's a fantastic brush, so I'm going to leave that on the side there. Okay, so now, now I've got to come back and I've got to think what colors I want to do these, right? And I think what I'm going to do before I have to make a decision, I'm going to try, excuse me, I'm going to try to come in here with a little bit of red and see how this bulb looks. Mrs. T, what's the name of that brush? It's a Mairtini, Mairtini, and I had never heard of it before. But I had to give it a try because that travel brush looked so good. I couldn't not give it a try. So if you look on Amazon, there's only going to be the one set of brushes there by them. I can't imagine that there would be another one, and they're being marketed by Meeden, Meeden. The Meeden company I very much like to work with. I've worked with them in the past. I think everything that I've gotten from them, well, almost everything I've gotten from them has been really good. The worst thing that I got from them was a palette that they sent me, and it works great, no problems there, but it's a little warped. I don't necessarily blame them. That could have happened anywhere along the line. It could have happened in shipping or wherever. It must hold a lot of water. It must purple. Oh, you want me to do Jackie, you want me to do a purple bulb here? I can do a purple bulb. I'm just going to try to work in a purple here anyway, so I can do that. And the name, if you're asking Mrs. T if that's the name of the travel brush, also that is the name of the travel brush. It's Mairtini, Mairtini. That travel brush I was not able to find for sale anywhere here in the States. So I don't even know where you would find that one in the US. Yeah, so I'm using this, and this paint is coming onto the paper, or going onto the paper, very smoothly off of this brush. This really isn't supposed to be a brush review show here, but that's okay. I'm happy to talk about it. Well, this one didn't turn out quite like I had hoped. I think I didn't have quite enough difference between the shadow areas here and the lighter areas. We'll have to see later on if we can fix that. So we'll have to add a little bit of this shadow with into the red and back into the lighter area. I guess maybe we could say this one is just a metal one with some stripes painted on it. That could be. I'm going to say that. Hey, if I'm gonna come out with some fancy new brushes, you can go ahead and grill me on the brushes all you want. I'm happy to talk about the brush. You guys know I'll talk about anything while I'm on here. I'm gonna add just a touch of, that's maybe even just a little too watery. Let me go up here. Just a touch of my favorite maroon perylene here, and I'm gonna let that run in, and that's gonna help with my shadows just a bit. It's going to darken it on the side. I don't even know that I'm going to... See, I can leave it like that. I don't even know that I need to mess with it a whole lot. Just that little bit is going to help give it that round look to it. It's amazing how it does that. It really is. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go over to here. If I do this one purple... if I do this purple, should I do this other color a complement or a contrast? I probably shouldn't do a contrast. Purple and green would look terrible together. Fun stuff. You like how this one looks? It does look silver. It looks like like it's got a metal. Oh, I don't know what, like these, right? It's like it's got the metal on the inside of the glass or something. It doesn't. We just needed to get this a little darker, and I didn't do that, and that's my fault. So let me see what I got for my purple here. I'll do the top and the bottom here in this purple, and then we'll figure out a color to put on the inside. Maybe we can even do that silver again with this purple. That would look nice. So the only funky thing about this purple is that this is a cobalt purple, and cobalt will settle into all these nooks and crannies in this paper, so it might look a little funky. But this B paper is fairly smooth paper, so it may not look that bad. We're going to find out how it looks here pretty quick. As it dries, it's going to start to granulate out. There we go. Just like that. Did you guys see how I made the? Were you here early enough when you saw how I made these little crowns? I'm not taking credit for that idea. I saw somebody else do it, and I went, "Oh, that's brilliant!" Because I tried these a while ago, a year or two, something like that, and I could never get them right. Right. I couldn't get them the same as all the other ones. So I couldn't figure out how to do it. It was so simple that, it's one of those things when you see somebody else do it, you go, oh my God, how did I not think of doing something like that? Actually, if you weren't here for the beginning, I'll do a little bit here. So let me see if I don't even know if I can get this any darker. I might have to add a little bit of extra color to this, a little bit of a blue to this, but maybe I can use this just strong enough. That might work. That's full strength right there. Let's see. Come over here. Yeah, you can definitely see it starting to separate out. It's kind of a neat look. It's one of the reasons why I left this purple in my palette, is because it's Such a cool, interesting thing that it does. Let's see, I'm going to take that right over there. I hope I'm doing this where you can see it. If you guys need me to zoom in, somebody please tell me. I'm happy to do that. And a little bit extra, I just wanted to take it right through here. I'm going to stop right there with it. It's looking nice and round. Where did it go? I just had it. I did it with my, here it is. I did it with my palette knife. This was so funny. Right, I've got all kinds of different widths I could make it. I just put the little elbows right on the top here, boop, and drew around the sides. And as long as I match the elbow to the top of the circle, it's the same on every one. I was like, how did somebody not think of that? That was so brilliant to do. So we're going to do this one purple and silver. And let's see, what other colors do I have I can use? I have red. I'll do red next to red because it'll pop off of the green here. And then down here, I can do a green and red stripe maybe. Let's see. I did red stripe there. I'll do the same thing down here, but with a, how about that? I'll do the same thing down here as that, but with a green stripe. I have greens on the bottom. I'll put another red there. It'll look a little funny, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So on this one, I need to make sure that my darks are going to be dark enough and my lights are light enough so that I don't have to rely on the color alone like that one if I don't want to go back and put a second layer on. So easy enough. And while I'm here, I can grab a bit of that blue, since I know that's blue going to be right next to us. And I can drop that on and continue down. Okay. So we've got that. And I was going to make this red and green. Red and... oh, what color did I say? I'm going to do this red. If I'm going to have some red in there, I'm going to drop a little bit of red. Well, now it's definitely going to be red, because I've got a little bit of red in there, and I'm going to let that mix through there and get nice and happy and do what it wants to. And while that's doing that, I'm going to, oh man, that's too much. If I have one complaint, if I have any one complaint about my M-gram paints, it's that, oh look, I got a hair coming out right there. That's the second one. I found I had one yesterday. It's that I will, let's see, where can I not put my hand? In purple. I will, I'll go to get a color, and I know it wets quickly. I will put my brush on it and pull it off. and it's not quite as wet or full of paint as I want, and I'll go back and do it a second time, and it's too much. But that's more of me than it is the paint. But if I have any complaint about it, that's it. Other than that, you guys know I love me some M-Gram paints. All right. So let's see how this one ends up. We got a nice lighter spot in the middle and darker down here. And you know what? That's behind a couple of balls, and our light is coming from up here. So maybe that one probably should be a little bit darker than the others. So I'm going to let it be a little darker. Now we're going to go back and do something that's dry already. So I'm going to come back to our green and see what we can do with another shot of phthalo green here. And on this one, I don't need to do quite so much for darkening, although I'm going to do a little bit of that. But I want to put it on for vibrancy and the look of roundness. That's what I'm going for here. Right? It was round. Now we're going to make it more rounder-er. Way more rounder-er. And the nice thing about all of this, for me, is that there's no real shadows that I have to put on here. All right, so now I can take all of this, I can just wet my brush a little bit, and I should be able to just work this down and make a really nice gradient all the way to the center of this. And we should end up with something that is a nice round looking ball. And I think we're just about there. I'm going to bring this dark up just ever so slightly. And I'm telling you what, that looks nice and round. I like that. The only thing I'm afraid of is I didn't put red on it like that one. And can I drop it in now? I think I'm not going to drop it in right now. I think I'm going to wait till this dries, and then I'll drop some in afterwards and just do a glaze on top. I'm going to come up and do our orange one up here. And with the orange one, I am going to try to put in some of that red. So on this one, I'm going to pre-wet it a little bit. There we go. I'm going to take that red and drop it in there. If I'm going to make the top and bottom of this one red, I've got to have something like that. What is happening here? Everybody's quiet. Everybody's totally enraptured with my painting tonight. Normally I'm looking up and it's hard to keep up with the chat. I don't actually know how many people are in here tonight. I don't have that screen up, so I can't see. It does make it a little easier for me. Mesmerizing. That's funny. It does make it a little easier for me, I will admit, because I can focus on... boy, I want to get the ums out of my language. I can focus on the painting a little bit more. All right, so now I've got to do a nice blend in here. I might have taken a little too much water out. Yep, too much. Come on. That's not knowing the brush right there. That's not the brush. That's me. Just not knowing exactly how much. There we go. So now I've got a nice bright spot right there. Fun stuff. You were putting this brush on your watch list on Amazon. I always do such cool, unique paintings. They have such a rich, distinct style. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you very much. It's not easy to do live chat business all by yourself. It's some days it's easier than others. I'll tell you. Some days it's tough, but it's fun. It's fun. I look forward to this every week. My wife goes, Are you still doing your live stream every Wednesday? I went, yes, I am. She goes, are you really? Yes. She goes, you've been doing that for months now. And I went, I know. I'm not slowing down. It's fun to do. Normally I come out here in the studio, right? And for anybody who doesn't know, my studio is in the back of my garage, on the back of my property, where there is light. If you've watched my stream before, there's intermittent internet. I think I've got most of that problem solved. There is sometimes heat. I came out before the stream today and turned the heater on, and so we're nice and warm right now. But I've turned it off, and we could start cooling down at any moment. So you never know. But coming out here by myself every night to paint, or I mean, maybe not every night, but often enough, is fine. But it's the interaction that makes this, anyways, so much fun that I don't want to miss. So I'm always like, yeah, of course I'm doing my live stream tonight. Why would I not do my live stream? I have now gotten this off center. So I need to try to move this over here a little bit. This is where I think if I had a stiffer brush, I could do a little better with it. But the squirrel hair at this instance is not working for me as well as I would like, and that's fine. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. It's just not exactly what I want it to do. Okay, let's see if I can get this a bit darker in here. Oh, let me put in, I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't do it, but I know it'll darken it up a little bit. I just put a little bit of this turquoise blue in here with my phthalo. And I don't know exactly why that darkens it up so much. I know it's two different blues and two whatever, but sometimes you mix two of the same color of paint and it doesn't necessarily darken it like you want. You just get the same color, similar color, slightly darker, but the turquoise really helps to darken up that phthalo. All right, so now I've got a nice blue. I'm trying to hurry before it dries. Now I should be able to blend this out. A nice blend there, and it's looking kind of round. Maybe not perfect round. See if I can blend a little bit more of this and get a little bit more roundness out of it. So anyways, fun stuff. You're glad I'm doing it, Mrs. T. Thank you. You guys are as much a part of this as I am. You guys make it fun to be here. and fun to do this and fun to interact with. So that's why I continue to do it. It's a kick for me to do this. Okay, so I'm liking that one. I'm liking this one. I like the yellow one. Yes, our friend up here. I need to darken that one up. And you can see this one is much darker. So when we paint in the green stripes on this one, we're not going to have to come back. Look at the difference between here and there. If I pulled out the value chart, right, this is somewhere between a 3 and a 4, and this is, holy cow, a 6, or I'm sorry, an 8 or a 9. So it's, you know, it's a lot darker here. Let's see, I would take on this. Actually, I can do the center of this one. We said we're going to do this one this same color, right? It's this metal-ish color. Let's do that. That'll look nice. And that's not touching anything else. I can decide how I'm going to do I can decide how I'm going to do the other ones while I'm stalling doing this. There we go. And here it's a little less important than being like super precise, right? If I touch the purple with the tip of this brush and I get a little purple on it, well, you know what? It's totally fine because, you know, these Christmas ornaments are 30 years old. And, you know, the paint's been smudged and chipped and moved a little bit. And I think the kids drew on it at one point in time and we had to get some of that off. So, you know, there's a little fudge factor in here. At least that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Let's see, so the only difficult thing here is where I've kind of made the line on the purple here. Now I got to kind of match that with this darker color that I'm going back in with. And, you know, the darker is just... the darker is neutral tint. There we go. I'll spit it out at some point. There we go. Just a nice gradient. You can pull that out. You could actually, if you really wanted to, you could touch just a bit of that blue in there. Maybe a little bit more. All right, we're going to get a little reflection off of there. There we go. And just let that do whatever it's going to do in there. I'm going to fix this side real quick. If there's a little bit of blue still on my brush, I'm not going to sweat it because reflections happen. Actually, I'm going to pull this out just a little further. I think it'll look a little better if it comes out just a bit further. Is it looking round? I hope it's looking round, round-ish. If that's a thing. Oh, there's another thing you need is a value chart. Let's see. I vote for Mrs. T. I vote for solid red on the last with gold or silver. You're voting for. Where am I? I vote for solid red on the last with gold and out silver with the purple. Oh, and silver with the purple. And you want solid, oh, you want red with gold on this one. Okay. You were trying Stan Miles' open squares technique for value. I don't trust myself to do it correctly. I don't know what Stan Miller's open squares technique is. I'm not actually sure I know. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure I know how to use this, but what I do is, I don't have any handy, I print out the pictures in black and white and in color, so I can hold this up against what I'm looking at in color and then look at it in black and white with a value chart next to it to see relative darkness if I can't figure it out. Okay, so this one, gold and red. Well, you know what? I was one step ahead of you. Look at this. I have sparkle paints. If you want gold, I got gold right there. So we might be doing that. Let's see. I need to, before I do that, I need to look. This is still wet, so I can't do that. I'm going to need to come over here and fix our values here really quickly. And I'm going to turn it upside down to do this. And I'm just going to darken quickly. I'm not going to spend too much time with it. Let's see. I know this is all darker down here. So we can make that all darker. Right, and then on the sides, I'm going to start over here. This is going to be darker just in a bit. I guess I didn't mention to you that I dropped down a brush size. And then there's a little bit up here, less than there. And maybe just a line up here. And now I'm going to blend these out just a bit. And with any luck, now we've got a round ball. Whoa, that's too dark. I can tell that one. Same thing on this side. Let's get that big dark blob out of there. A little bit over here. I'm not even going to go up there. Let me just pull this out. Nice blend. And from you two, and with any luck, nobody will even notice that we didn't do it all at once. It's just going to turn out right. Something like that. It came out a little bit. I got a little bit of a hard edge here. I don't want it. I can just go back and soften that just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to stick with that. I think I like that. It does. It totally looks round. Mrs. T, you have these sparkly paints too. It's just two squares. You cut out a square in the middle for each to compare. Oh, different value. Oh, I see. The shade light is bouncing off of these balls is good. Oh, thank you. Talking through this is helpful to so many. Explaining what yours and how you're doing. Daniela, I'll tell you what, I have had so much help along the way in watercolors that I am totally happy to help out however I can. And if you can take something from what I'm saying, please do. I want to help everybody out. I want to make painting easier, watercolor painting easier for everybody, because I want everybody to enjoy it as much as I do. So that's why I do this and try to make this as easy and helpful and fun as I can. I cannot do this green quite yet. So that means I'm down to a couple of things here. So this is what's stopping me. This blue. Okay, I'm gonna try to do gold here first. Let's see if I can do that. So if I look at this, that's the most gold I have on here. It's pretty yellow, but I think that's what we're gonna go with. So I'm gonna wet this. I haven't used this. Oh, you know what? Hang on 1 second. I have learned one lesson in my life. When you have sparkly paints, use a whole separate water. Because if you don't, you're going to have sparkly paint for weeks on end. Okay. So, Hey, Cynthia! Glad you could make it. All right, so here we go, and this is going in the center of this one. So, whoa, it's light. We might have to do something to add a little bit of body to this. What's a darker? Maybe we're gonna mix a couple here. Maybe not. Let's see how it goes on. It is pretty light though. I bet if I mixed this with a different one of these, let me just get a little bit of extra water here. Or maybe not. Let me finish this up and then you guys can see if you think it's going to need a little bit of darkening. Let's see, so that's going to pull across here like that. Let me put these paints up here for a second. I need to turn. What weight is this B paper? Danielle asked, what weight is this B paper? This is 140 pound B paper. I think they make two, the 90 and 140. And this is 140, and I tried to outsmart the system. Right, everybody will tell you, if you're a watercolor artist, you have to use cotton paper, right? Well, you can't possibly paint on wood pulp paper. You need cotton paper. Well, I tried. I didn't try. I did it. I bought a 50 yard. I don't know. It was giant. Maybe 50 feet. I don't know. 50 yards is pretty big. And it was a fat roll like this, 3 feet wide of B paper, and I went, well, I'll just cut it myself, and you know, no big deal, I can do that. As it turned out, if you tried to cut a roll of B paper, you need a giant paper cutter or some kind of scissors that are gonna get the job done for you. Well, I happened to have had a large paper cutter at my work, thankfully, and so I put it up there, and it still took me. I should grab that piece of paper or that stack of paper and bring it over here. I'm gonna put a little bit of green in here. Maybe we're getting a little reflection off of this bulb. This is 100. I know this is 140 pound B paper because I have stacks and stacks of it that I've cut into this shape, this is 12 by 12, and I've got some that are cut into 6 by 9, maybe. I don't know, some other sizes, anyways, and. If I'll grab it here, and I need to move a couple of things, but I'll grab it to show you. It's really kind of funny. I did this in, I kid you not, I did this in, I want to say July. I'll show you the book I have on it too to try and flatten it. Maybe I should have been using this color. Let's see. Anyways, I pulled this out last night, and I went, holy cow, it's still not flat. It's hysterical. All right, there's my gold. All right, so let me really super clean my brush out and get all the sparkle off of there. Watch this. Here's my book. Here's my book that I have on top of it. This is American Watercolors, and it's so thick and pretty big. It's bigger than the sheet of paper, right? And I would say this weighs 10 pounds. It's a big book. And I've had my paper laying under it for months now, and it's still all curled up. Oops, I gotta do it this way. Here, look, here's a picture of my elves I had. Come on, come back into focus. Come on, camera. There we go. Those are the elves I had for my value, so I would know. This is better with the green on it, but it's all curved, and I don't know. It's just a funny thing. Stuff happens. Not gonna worry about it. Okay. And now back to the show. I can iron it. I could. That would be funny. Oh, Minty's here. Hello, Minty. Let's see. It was just like Fabriano didn't like it. Oh, wait, did I miss something you tried? Fun stuff you tried? The bee paper and you didn't like it? I get that. I totally understand that. Bee paper is... It's funny. It says it's 140 pound, but when you compare it to any of the other 140 pound papers, it seems awfully light. So if I'm using it and if I'm going to paint something and I have the idea that I'm going to use a lot of water with it, I won't use the bee paper. I'll use anything else. I'll even use, wood pulp paper, just because the bee paper just does not hold up to the water, even though it's 140 pound, as well as other brands do. But if you're doing something like this where you're painting in a spot, the biggest thing I'm doing is a 2-inch diameter here, then I think the bee paper is totally fine. You're not wetting enough of the paper to make it warp or buckle very much. I will say that it is pretty consistent in its water retention. How much it holds or how much it does, whatever. Even whether it's wet or whether it's dry or whether it's a wet day or whether it's a dry day, it's consistent across time. It's just it just gets out of shape when it gets too wet. So if you're using bee paper, that would be my my caveat with that. Now, the nice thing that's going on here is this is kind of like a grisaille painting, right? This is I think that's how you pronounce it. That's the style where you paint all of the shadow and everything first, or you paint it all in grayscale and get all your values in there. And then you go over top of it and paint it with the finish color on top, and all you have to do is put on a layer of it, and everything else should work out perfectly. It should come out exactly like you want just by putting one layer on, because you've got your values underneath. So that's kind of what's going on here with the green. So we're not going to have a whole lot to do with this green anyways. All we're going to do is kind of not go out too much outside of the lines. And this is going to look nice. It's going to look really nice. It's kind of what I wanted to happen with the red one over there. But we just didn't quite have it dark enough. Yeah, it looks really nice like that. And I'm going to do a little bit down here right at the bottom, just to make it opposite of what the red one is up there. Not just to... I didn't have to. I could have made them exactly the same, but this will just add a little bit more to the painting, hopefully. There we go. All right. So we're good with that. Oh, hang on. I got to move my sparkly water away now. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have yet to do. We've got all the crowns to do, so we know that. And I've got to do a second layer on the purple. So before I do this, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to start on the second layer on this purple. Let's see, and Mrs. T, you like the arches for granulation. Arches does allow for really nice granulation on their paper. All their papers do. Well, I guess maybe not the hot press, but the cold press and the rough, both really good in bringing out the granulation. I guess that's why everybody likes them so much. When you're everybody's favorite, not everybody's, most everybody's favorite. All right, so this one is in 2 parts. So I'm going to do something like that, and now I'm going to just blend this out. And I guess I need to get to it a little quickly. Maybe I'm not using quite as much water as I was. Well, I guess I'm not using quite as much water as I was before. I was going to say, looks like it's drying a little bit more quickly, but I did the whole ball to begin with, so of course I'm not using quite as much water. But that looks good. That looks good. Let me get the bottom of this now. This cobalt purple is such a weird, it's really neat. You can see it on my, I don't know if you can see it on my palette over here. Where's my palette at? Where's my finger? Right there. It's separating out almost right on my palette. And you can see the blue that's in it breaking off. So it almost looks like there's blue and purple right in that same little puddle right there, and there shouldn't be. I don't think I mixed any blue in there. Trying hard not to put my palm right into, now I'm going to put some blue in it though. Trying hard not to put my palm in the green that I just painted. So I need to put a little blue down here somewhere, because of course we have a little bit of a reflection. So I'm just going to kind of grab that and mess that around a little bit. I'm not even sure if that's going to show in the end, but even if it doesn't, that's fine. That's fine. I'll know it's there. You guys will know it's there. You give me some mad credit for that, I'm sure. And I said that I was going to mix a little bit of purple to put on this blue. I'm going to have a little bit going the other way too. Yeah, I don't even know that this purple is strong enough this way. Oh, there we go. Just blued a bit of it on there. And gently, gently, gently. I don't want to scrape away, take away any of the blue that's there. Yeah, that purple is so soft you can hardly even see it. So, oh, I'm not, okay, so that's, I looked at this and I was like, that doesn't look right here. But that's the crown on there. So, Michael, what are your plans for what you will teach us to paint in 2020? That's a great question. And the answer is, I'm not exactly sure yet. I think I told you guys before that I foresee that I will be moving to a little bit more of a looser style. I'm just looking for a sheet of paper here. So I imagine, actually, you know what? I should just make these silver. I'm looking for the right shade of gold or something like that, and I'm just going to make it easy and make these silver. I've got a silver one of these right here. So I would imagine we're going to have some of these sessions where we're working on loosening up a bit, and we'll see how and where that goes. I don't think I'm ever fully going to get away from doing this kind of stuff because it's fun to do, right? There's just something fulfilling about painting a picture in this, right, in this what I would call a quasi-realistic style, right? I'm not trying to make it exactly photorealistic, but it's realistic-ish, right? It's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you guys. It's nice to see how it goes, and what's more is it's nice for you guys, I'm sure, to hear somebody else's thought process on how they paint something, and it's nice for me to be able to express that, because then when I verbalize it and say it out loud, then it sinks it in for me, and so then I can get some learning out of it too, right? So I think I'm always going to have some of these, but I think we're going to have a few that are going to be a bit looser in 2020. And for me, that's a little daunting in some respects because on YouTube I run on viewers and viewership, and I imagine there will be some people that don't want to view videos that are paintings in a looser style. The other side of that is there are probably some that really would love to see how things are done in a looser style and be able to talk and interact with somebody who's attempting to do it. Now I know that stuff is flipping past, and I'm jabbering away and looking at what I'm doing here. So in 2020, that's where I'm going with things, and I'm probably going to keep to the same pattern that I've done this year for the most part, which is I'm just going to pick out a topic of my own, and I'll pick out a topic of my own, and I'll stick with it for a month, 3 weeks, a month. I'll do a few of them in a row that way. You know, this is a month now of holiday painting that I've done, and I did a month of things that remind me of summer and whatnot. So I think that part of it's going to continue on, where I'm not going to get away from that. But let's see. Trying to get a slightly, you know what, I'm not going to do it in here. Okay, let me do this with a little bit of regular paint here. I'm going to grab a little bit of Payne's Gray, or a little bit, mix it in with a little bit of this neutral tint. I just want to, well, where do I start? I just want a couple of little lines here. Let me turn this over. That might have been just a little too early on that one. A couple of lines here and there. Let's see. Who said I should watch Angela Fair? I cannot watch Angela Fair. She's just out of control. Some of her stuff, I used to watch a lot of Angela Fair And a lot of her stuff is just, it's more abstract for me, to me, I guess I should say. It's more abstract than it is loose, and I have trouble with that. I don't want to be an abstract painter. I understand her style is very loose. It's really loose. But it's too loose. It's it's crazy. And I'm lean, you know, when I look at a picture and how I want to approach it, a lot of times, you know, I'll see it's much looser, more impressionistic. So, you know, I've been watching some more of impressionist in quotes, painters. Let's see. She makes it look easy, but yeah, the fun stuff. Angela she does make it look easy, and when she explains things, you go, oh, yes, and then 2 seconds later, I'm like, no. Let's see. I'm getting to fun. Mrs. T says, fun stuff. I'm getting to the point where I see things in her work that she doesn't even see. Wow. You're ahead of me in that one. Let's see. I don't see stuff like that. Okay. I was able to replicate her tulip. Oh, cool. And I did an acceptable peony. That's cool. What's the name of the paints in the oval container? What are the name of these paints? Yasumoto. It says Yasumoto. I didn't tell you the truth. I don't even know where I got these. I used to have a different one. I don't. No, I don't. Oh, I do have it. Oh, here's the ones I normally use. I thought my daughter stole these. These are Prang metallic ones. These are the ones I like. I don't even know where I got these ones at. But they say Yasumoto on the bottom of them. All right, so I need to do some red here. So let's get on that. Let me move my sparkly water back out of the way, and I'm going to dip back into my Pyrrol red for this. Because Pyrrol red is this nice, I would say it's a good Christmassy red. It's a nice, bright, vibrant red. Though if you've seen me use it recently, if you saw me use it on the elves, you know that it oftentimes dries a bit dull. So we're going to watch for that. And we need to put on a kind of a second coat on these ones anyway, so that second coat of the Pyrrol red always does really help build up the body of the color. The intensity of the color really snaps it up in the Pyrrol red. There we go. And I'm going to give us a little boost on the next one. So I'm going to drop in some of this darker color down below. And again, this is the darker color is just a maroon perylene. And I just touched that green. It wasn't quite dry yet. So I've got a little run in the green. I'm going to leave it there. And if you ask me about it, I'm going to tell you that little run is an imperfection in the green paint. It came that way from the manufacturer. So that's just how I'm going to deal with that one. And it looks like I've got a little too much of that maroon in my red here. Let me just get a little bit of that off of here. There we go. That's a nice... Oh, that's a better red. I've got to be careful not to go into our gold. Oh yeah, and that red really helps that gold color stand out. It could be a little stronger, but it is a nice gold color, that's for sure. Oh, let's see. I need to look up. Oh, here's a tip that might help when painting. I use my phone and take a photo of my painting. I can instantly an area that needs attention. Oh, you know what? That is a good tip, Daniela, because you know what? I don't do that. But I do have my monitor right up in front of me here, and I'm constantly looking up at my monitor to see what it looks like, to see what I'm painting looks like on the screen up there. So it's funny that happens, that you can so quickly see a difference when you look at a screen rather than when you look at it in real life. I don't know why that just sounds terrible. You have to look at a screen to make it look, for your eyes to pick up different details. That sounds terrible, but it's true. She's right. Daniela's right. It does happen like that. It's weird, but it does. So I'm just kind of, my maroon had come up a little too far for me on there. I didn't want it up quite that far, so I basically just added a little extra red that brought the red color up a little bit. And then we'll come back in just a second with some more of the maroon. So we're closing in on the end of this now. Let's see. I'm sure I missed quite a few of the comments up there, looking up and down and trying to get the painting. That's a great tip, Daniela. I'm going to have to do that. Yes, Michelle, it is a great tip. I can't tell you how many times I look here and I go, ooh, like this. It looks kind of round. It's kind of round. I look up there and I go, oh, okay, now I see what it looks like. And it works a lot better than you'll see a lot of people hold it and literally step back from it and step forward. I don't know why. It is easier, but it is. Let's see if I can just brush a little bit of this red away on here a little bit. Doesn't need to be quite that big of a spot, I don't think. I can live with it like that. So if I'm going back to do an appraisal of what we have done here, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, and I know we're not quite done yet, and I'm going to do this because this white spot, there's a white spot right there, and it's really bothering me. It's really bothering me. I'm just going to drop in a little bit of phthalo blue just like that, and probably nobody would have ever seen that, but let's see. I have no idea why the phone screen tips works, but it does. Resizing, maybe it might be. Let's see. That sounds pretty alien. I haven't tried any metallic. Restream bot maybe. I don't know why it works, but it does work. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a critique here, and this is what I'm gonna say. I like that on all of these we have some decent roundness. Not so much here in the gold. I'm not too worried about it. The edges have a little bit of a different color to them, but gold is a weird color, so I can live with it being flat. I think when we get the roundness in on the red, once this layer dries, that'll force the whole bulb here to look rounder. All right, I think that will be fine. Right, these balls, the yellow back here looks really nice. As for a critique of me, I think I should have figured out what colors were going to be where before I started. I really didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. And I could have done more like this here where I dropped just a little bit of color in ahead of time and really made it look more like it reflected light on there. The blue, the purple kind of worked. I'm not going to go and do the red over here. I could do a little bit, but the gold at this point would be really tough to do over onto the green. We didn't get the red that we put on the orange, yellow, mustardy. It didn't come out with the greatest yellow back there. Bulb is a little muted back there. We could have done better there. I could have done better there. So that's on me. I like the overall look of this. What I would love to do is just give a little color off to the side. You know, do a little, get it wet here, drop a little color, get it wet, drop a little color, maybe a little splash. I don't think I'm going to do that. But if I were going to take this to the next level, I think that's what I would do, is just mix in some other colors coming off of these balls to give it a little bit more interest. You know, maybe give it a little splatter, something like that. Trying to think, you know, give myself a realistic critique here of what's going on. I try to think about what I've done and what I could have done better fairly soon after I do a painting, because everything that I've done is fresher in my mind. I think I get a little bit more learning out of it that way. I guess it's debatable whether whether I learn anything at all based upon some of my artwork. But I think I get a bit more out of it when I do that. Right? I force myself to think, okay, I did this way. Is this the best way to do it? Could I have done this a different way? And just be honest with myself about the look and the feel of the painting as it's going along. All right, and again, I've got a little bit of a run into my green here, which I'm going to try not to worry about. That green was still just a little damp, and I could worry about it, or I could just say manufacturing defect. When it was made in the 1950s, nothing can be done about it. Here we go. This should make it look a bit rounder. Doing this should help us out. And I'm just going to blend that out a little bit. I guess I could take that up into the red and down. Yeah, once it got into that green, it really just grayed it right out. But I'll do that, and now it does look like a shadow there. I can live with that. There we go. And the only thing left to do, Daniela says these are absolutely beautiful. I don't do anything everybody else has done 10,000 times. I don't know. I just, you know what? Honestly, I don't worry about what everybody else does a whole lot. I just do things that kind of interest me, and I hope that in the long run, it works out. And I think sometimes it does, and I think sometimes it doesn't. So thank you for that compliment. And I'm just going to take it as a compliment and go with it. And I'm going to draw in some strings here. Right? Maybe these are tied on here somehow. I have pre-drawn these strings, so I do know where they're at. Right? These are... There goes that one. And this one, I got to be brave. This one goes right in front. Feel like Bob Ross when I'm doing this. I got the whole painting done like Bob Ross, and now I'm going to put a giant tree right in the middle of everything. Draw right in front of it. There we go. There's my hanging bulbs. Oh, here's another critique. If I were to do this again, I wouldn't put this string right in front of that string. I would move these balls halfway, more like these ones are. That's all right. I'm going to sign it right here. We're going to call it good. And that's going to be it for this one. I had a great time painting this with you guys. I hope you guys had a great time watching. Give it a try. Just be mindful to get a good reference picture and look at it, making note where the highlight is, or where the lighter spots are and where the darkest spots are, right? Get a good ball that you can see a picture on. You can see it's lighter here, darker around the edges, a nice dark line through here, and do the trick that I do. Print it out in black and white and look at the grayscale values. And once you break it up that way, you can really see how it does it really nicely. Like I said, that's, I think, all I have for you guys today. Down below, I have links to my Instagram and Twitter. If you do those, I've got a link to my website. I've got a link to my Etsy store. I've got a few things up for sale there. Not a whole lot. I'm hoping to get more up there after the first of the year. I am pretty busy around my house until the end of the year. I am going to try to do one next Wednesday, a live stream next Wednesday, so be sure to stick around come back for that, I guess I should say. Thank you again to Fun Stuff for contributing to the coffee fund to help keep me going as I'm doing paintings out here in the studio. And that's all I've got for everybody. If you can't come back next week, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And if you can come back next week, please come back. We're going to do another great painting. And that's all I've got for you. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.